All right, so the video got cut off right at the end just as I was talking about the sinusoidal axis and the amplitude. So just a quick recap, I marked on here this blue line right through the middle of my wave, and that's called your sinusoidal axis. Sometimes it's called the midline as well. And that line just kind of marks that halfway point. On this as well, I've also marked the amplitudes. Those are the kind of almost like the height of how tall each of these hills and how low each of these valleys are getting. I formally defined it up here as the 1/2 the distance between the highest and lowest points. So if this is your highest point and this is your lowest point, highest is at 1, lowest is at -1, that would be a distance of 2. Half of that distance would be 1, which is also that same height there as well. So I'm going to write that down. Your amplitude is 1. So those are some of the important key features from the graph. All right, now I'm going to turn to graphing cosine here. Let's scoot my page up just a little bit. And similar to graphing sine, I'm going to treat these as my x values and these as my y values. So first I'm going to start with 0, 1, 0 for the x, up 1 for the y. Then once again, this is pi over 2, so that would be pi over 2 and 0. Then pi and -1, that marker's supposed to go there. 3 pi over 2 and 0, and then 2 pi and 1. And again, that's the end of the first cycle. Now, as we kind of talked through with the sine graph, 2 pi is going to coincide with where 4 pi lands as well. And we can think back to our unit circle. If I went all the way around, that's 2 pi. All the way around again would be 4 pi, so that's going to coincide. 3 pi is going to coincide with pi. So I'm going to be down here at -1. Pi over 2 is going to coincide with this tick mark, and 3 pi over 2 with that tick mark. So that's our first cycle and our second cycle. And once again, from start to finish, this first cycle takes place from 0 to 2 pi, and that's a distance of 2 pi, so we call that the period, how long it takes to repeat itself. It's going to keep going in both directions and keep doing this same pattern. We'll go down and then up, and down and then up there. Once again, we have a sinusoidal axis here. And I actually forgot to mark the sinusoidal axis equation up here, but they both have the same equation. It's this horizontal line, which we write as the equation y equals 0. So I'm going to write that equation for both there. And then once again, the amplitude, like that height of these hills and valleys, that amplitude is a height of 1. All right, so that summarizes some of the key features of the graph. What you'll learn next is how to transform these, so how to shift them up, down, how to stretch them, shrink them, and even kind of an introduction as to how to shift them left and right.